Hello BookTube. Today I'm going to be doing the short and sweet book tag. This tag was created by Steve Donahue after an original video called Short and Sweet by Britta Bowler. This is one of Steve Donahue's weaponized book tags in which participants select a number of books, preferably more than two, of shorter than 200 pages. Otherwise, allegedly, Britta will be very displeased with you and talk about them. And preferably, these books will be recommends. I don't have any books in my collection that are under 200 pages, and some of the books that I had thought to include in this, I'm not entirely sure what exactly their page counts are. And I'm pretty sure their page counts actually vary between editions. I was going to add a few Agatha Christie novels into this, but the one I was going to go with is over 200 pages, and I'm not going to use any from the omnibuses because combined they are well over 200 pages. So I did select 6 books that I will talk about. First up is The Master of Go by Yasunari Kawabata. This is my favorite Kawabata novel. It is a let's see if the reference is in here. It's a kind of Japanese novel form that we would consider today autofiction. I think the proper term for the genre is shosetsu, which is a kind of chronicle novel. And this novel is a lightly fictionalized account of the final go match of Honinbo Shusai against Minoru Katane, who in the novel is surnamed Ohtaka, which Kawabata covered for a major newspaper in the mid to late 30s. I have loved this novel since I've read it the first time. I've read it several times. It is an amazing experience and quite short. So yeah, I highly, highly recommend this book. A really good option for selecting short work are poetry collections, slim volumes of poetry. I have a paltry poetry collection, but 2 collections of poems jumped out at me. One is a longtime favorite, and that is Voluntary Servitude by Mark Wunderlich. I have had this collection, of poetry a few times in my life. Once when it first came out, I picked it up from Book People and had it for a few years, and then I had a massive purge and got rid of it, and just last year I picked up another copy. I love this collection. The poems are amazing, and every time I read the collection it really improves itself on to me. So highly, highly recommend Voluntary Servitude. And I think if I remembered, I might read like a poem or two from this collection and a few others that I have. I mean, I still have a poetry collection, like on Tuesdays and probably Thursdays, because I know there's a poetry tag running around that I consistently forget to do. The other poetry collection I wanted to showcase is The New Black by Evie Shockley. This is a collection that I picked up earlier this year and quite enjoyed it. A lot of the poems in here are fantastic, and I will definitely be reading some of them if I ever do the poetry tags. Moving on from poetry, I have a manga collection to showcase. So manga, when they are produced in a sort of a collected format, usually come in at about a little less than 200 to a little more than 200 pages. Magi Volume 1 comes in at just under 200 pages. So Magi by Shinobu Ohtaka is a manga series that came out in the I think it started in the late 2000s and ended about mid 2010s, or like its publishing life was pretty much in the 2010s. It's a recent discovery for me. I had been wanting to read this series for a while. It is about a young magi named Aladdin who goes on a series of adventures with his friends Alibaba and eventually in Morgiana, in a setting that is highly reminiscent of the 1001 Nights, heavily inspired by the Middle East. I have read the first 4 volumes and have really loved the series, and I'm looking forward to reading more from this. I highly recommend it. It is amazing, particularly the artwork. I just love the artwork. So yeah. And a lot of manga, again, are relatively short. You can read them in an afternoon or in a few hours, depending how fast you read. Also, a lot of comic book collections, which sometimes are appropriately called graphic novels and sometimes aren't, but it's just easy to say graphic novels. They're usually under 200 pages and quite readable. And of course, there are children's lit that one can talk about, although I don't have any children's lit in my collection, so I can't really show them. Although the true story of the 3 Little Pigs by John Scieszka, I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of his last name because I always forget how to pronounce it, which I will leave a link down below as well, is an amazing children's book. Now the last 2 books that I'm going to show you, are one's a writing book and the other's an art book. So the first one, the writing book, is The Art of Description by Mark Doty. Mark Doty is a poet whose work I have enjoyed in the past, although I have none of his collections currently in my collection. Something that has become a recurring refrain I really need to correct. But anyway, so The Art of Description is a book that isn't necessarily on how to write descriptions as much as it is a meditation on description, and particularly poetic description. It's a mix of it's a weird, wonderful book, and one of a series of writing books. It's the Art of series that I have a number of, and they are all quite fantastic that I've read. So anyway, highly recommended. And the art book I have is Painting Brilliant Skies and Water in Pastel by Liz Haywood-Sullivan, who I mentioned yesterday in my favorite painters. Well, it was the P tag. The second question was, who are your favorite painters? Or who's your favorite painter? And I listed a number of painters, including Liz Haywood-Sullivan, who is one of my favorite painters working today. Her work is amazing. And this is a how-to. It's basically a book that aims to teach painters how to paint skies and water and pastel, and it is a really interesting book. I've enjoyed reading it the past few times I've read it and stuff. So yeah, highly recommend this if you are at all interested in pastel. So that was the short and sweet Tag, I will hopefully have a tag up tomorrow. I'm not entirely sure what it will be, but anyway, but I'm hoping for at least one or two. I'm hoping for a double tag Thursday because tomorrow is double eviction on Big Brother. So I will definitely aim to do 2 tags tomorrow. And then, of course, on Friday there will be weekly reads. So until tomorrow, BookTube, thank you, have a great afternoon, and stay safe.